The day began like any other, calm skies, warm air, and the quiet hum of life going about its business. The road ahead stretched endlessly, lined with trees whose leaves whispered in the wind. In that moment, everything seemed certain, almost predictable, as though nothing could go wrong. But certainty has a way of making one careless, and carelessness has a way of leading to mistakes. The traveler walked with a confident pace, guided by the belief that their path was the right one. The signs along the road seemed clear enough, there was no reason to question them. Yet, just a few miles ahead, the ground subtly shifted, soft underfoot, harder to walk on. Still, the traveler pressed forward, telling themselves that a small discomfort was no reason to turn back. Hours passed, and the path began to twist strangely. Shadows grew longer, and the air felt heavier. The once familiar road now looked unfamiliar, yet pride can be louder than doubt. The traveler decided to keep going, convinced that persistence would eventually lead to the intended destination. It was only when the road came to a sudden, jagged cliff that the truth became impossible to ignore. The journey had gone completely astray. The cliff overlooked a deep ravine, its walls dark and uninviting. There was no bridge, no way forward, only the quiet consequence of a wrong choice. The traveler felt the weight of the mistake settle on their shoulders like a heavy coat. Sitting on a nearby rock, they thought back to every small sign they had dismissed, the softening ground, the twisting road, the uneasy feeling. Each one had been a warning, but none were heeded. Regret has a way of replaying such moments in sharp detail, as though punishing the mind for not listening sooner. After a while, the traveler stood and turned around. The road back would be long, perhaps even harder than the one that had led here, but there was no other choice. Every step away from the cliff was a reminder that mistakes are not the end, only detours that demand correction. The sun began to dip lower as the traveler retraced their steps. This time, the journey was slower, more deliberate. Every sound was noticed, the crunch of gravel, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird. The world seemed sharper now, as though mistakes had sharpened the senses in ways success never could. At a fork in the road, the traveler paused. This was the place where the wrong turn had been made earlier. It looked different now, less obvious, less inviting. The other path, the one ignored before, seemed narrower but steadier. It did not promise ease, but it did offer the chance to move forward again. Choosing the second path, the traveler walked on with a new kind of confidence, not the blind certainty of before, but a quieter, steadier belief grounded in awareness. The ground was firm underfoot, and the road, while winding, never strayed too far from the horizon. Along the way, the traveler encountered others, some struggling with heavy loads, some pausing in confusion, and some clearly lost. A few asked for directions, and the traveler shared what they knew, speaking not from a place of authority, but from the humility of someone who had wandered off course before. Days turned into weeks, and the traveler grew accustomed to the rhythm of moving forward without rushing. There were still moments of uncertainty, times when the path seemed unclear, but the lesson from that cliff remained: rushing forward without questioning was the quickest way to fall behind. One afternoon, the road curved gently and opened onto a wide plain where the grass shimmered in the sunlight. In the distance, mountains rose, steady and unmoving, a promise that the journey still had meaning. The traveler stopped and looked back, not to dwell on the mistake, but to acknowledge it. The wrong turn had cost time, but it had also carved something important into the traveler's way of thinking: awareness, patience, and a willingness to listen to the small warnings that life offers. Standing there, the traveler realized that mistakes are not simply obstacles, they are teachers. They strip away the illusions of invincibility and replace them with understanding. They turn pride into humility, and humility into wisdom. With that understanding, the traveler walked on, each step a quiet agreement with the road: there will be more wrong turns in the future, but none will be wasted if the lessons are carried forward. Moral of the story: mistakes are not failures, but opportunities to grow. They guide us toward awareness, patience, and humility, if we are willing to listen and learn.